absolutely destroying combo decks in general. And there's another sign there from Tianming that maybe he didn't get the meta quite right as well, playing 0/1 Thieves in his deck. That is a thing that people do, don't get me wrong, but the fact he went with that particular build, to me, means that I think he felt he'd have targets for that Siphon mana, and he's not going to have them very often. So he's going to have to construct a way to get that card to reduce his hand. Otherwise, it slows him down even more. And against this lineup, he can't afford to slow down even more.
No, he cannot. Yeah, a lot of essentially dead cards, right? Because it's a questless mage, and you're running Flurry, Devolving Missiles, First Flame, Brain Freeze, right? Things that aren't going to really do anything, are even hard to get out of your hand or cast in the first place, right? So even once you get to the point where you're actually trying to beef up the Mizaki for the combo, you have to be very careful with how you proceed, because you may not necessarily have good targets for First Flame in order to get the +1 spell damage from it. So also just for multicaster purposes, right? Ice Barrier is really the only easy to use Frost spell to get that extra draw. So even though it's not quest, we still have to talk about spell schools because of multicaster.
Yeah, hasn't drawn anything particularly useful either in his opener. However, the great leveler sometimes, Nalguidan has the Il'gynoth on the left-hand side of his hand, which means his outcast spells are going to be just that little bit more awkward to get going.
Do you want to build a snowman?
I knew this was coming. Why? Why so early? Why so early?
Literally the first, card that's played entire tournament gets a build a snowman. All right, Tianming wants to build a snowman. At some point, he's just going to have to let it go.
Yeah, Nalguidan is going to have to really fiddle about here with his hand. Curious to see when he just goes for the first completion. Presumably next turn, the Sigil's kind of forcing his hand here, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the Peddler, right, to trade. So next turn he's got 2 natural draws plus 1 from the Peddler. So he just needs to find 1 more card draw along the way. Could end up using Spectral Sight in order to do that. So he's looking pretty good. Has second Sigil to follow it up as well. I think he's perfectly fine. There we go. Snowman. Snow Brute in hand. He's going to build a Snow Brute.
Gonna say Brutes already. Good start, TJ. We've got the Brutes in there on game 1. We've got Snowmen on there on turn 1. Everything is going absolutely according to our lovely Mimi plan.
Snow Brute me, dude.
Obviously, there's no actual Brute Demon Hunter in this tournament, but it's nice to have some sort of reference in the first match.
Yeah.
We have Trogs instead now. That'll have to replace them, I think.
Ooh. All right, so if Nalguidan wants the discount, or the first quest completion here, he is going to have to play an unoutcasted Spectral Sight. I don't think it's that big of a deal. He will get the discount on the Tusk Pierce that was drawn, so he can attack and load. The problem is, the Snowman freezes. So, okay, second Tusk Piercer drawn, that's good. Now he can actually get the draw from the Tusk Piercer, even if this Snowman freezes his face.
Can. He's probably going to have to. The problem with playing a Spectral Sight like that, and it's absolutely fine, obviously he had to do this, is it's the stuff after you complete, after you get Kurtrus, the more card draw you've used in that time, obviously the less you get to draw afterwards. That can sometimes result in some very slow games for the Demon Hunter. Not very often, but we have seen it where people are just top decking garbage after garbage after garbage after their glide.
Mm-hmm.
Talking of garbage, Tianming's hand has just not improved at all over the last couple of turns.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, multicaster can certainly help that, but
hey,
it is just going to be the 2. Fine, okay, Carriage Flow, that's good. And Nalguidan left his options open, right? He could have coined out Sigil to keep get that train rolling, but he left himself okay, well, if I get a dumpable card on the right-hand side, which is actually not that easy, then he would leave the option open to glide. But picks up Acrobatics. So can Acrobatics and then Peddler and then re-equip the second Tusk Piercer, and that'll be, well, draw the Peddler back, and that'll be second quest completed for Nalguidan.
Seeing
Right
how the nightmare of this Il'gynoth, though, he's not going to be able to glide Tianming's hand away, at least not without top decking another one. He seems to be getting cards in pairs, so maybe he will. And he is going to be at the mercy of Tianming, who's now going to be able to get the flow activated, which, although it's a bit slow, and he may feel a little bit under pressure because he doesn't know about the Ugganoth on the left. I don't think he's got any choice but to just try and get this rolling. Oh, he's just considering going for minion pressure.
How perplexing.
Wait, minion pressure?
He's got Snow Brutes in hand next turn.
Oh, next turn, okay. Yeah, can't do it.
Maybe he was just hovering over it to have a read.
Yeah, it could be thinking about like
Played
playing
it.
Ignite first and then Flow. Because really there's not much else you can do in hand, yeah, because this will discount the shuffled Ignite. Gives him a little bit more flexibility later once he starts going off with Mizaki. And nothing else seems reasonable there, right? He could like conjure Mana Biscuit, just hold on to the Mana Biscuit, but doesn't seem super relevant at this point. The only thing is like by playing the Ignite, he puts another Ignite in his deck, which is kind of a dead draw. But would rather just get it out of the way, get the discount out of the way now.
I guess we have to keep an eye on Nalguidan's health total. It's very likely he heals that back up at some point, but as things stand, Tianming may end up just starting to point things at face every turn. There's another option.
Yep. Also true.
Because he's on 20 already. Like, that's just not a thing normally against Mage, but because of the way Tianming's been forced to play, it is actually getting to the point where he can just start throwing stuff at face and hope it all goes away. But there is that first fell screen blast for Nalguidan, so that should no longer be a problem.
I mean, if he gets a minion to use it on, he can always blow up his own minions, which is actually super beneficial. So, quest complete for Nalguidan. Kurtrus in hand. And yeah, see, that's the downside I talked about for playing the Ignite right then. Draws back the Ignite that he shuffled in last turn. So that's the punish for doing that instead of going for like loading up the Conjure Mana Biscuit or even the Rune Lord would try and fish for something. Could just play, knowing that Kurtrus is going to be played next turn, could just build a Snow Brute and call it a day. It doesn't progress the game plan, but yeah, it is tempting because it's a lot of damage, and if Nalguidan were to play Kurtrus next turn, that'd be 6 damage that'd be going to face, and then starting to get pretty close to lethal damage.
Like, there's Flurry the turn after to freeze the Kurtrus. You hit for another 6 because they did nothing because they played a Kurtrus.
Yep.
It's more tempting than it looks. Like, your first instinct is don't be stupid, but we are going to see a Brute, TJ. This is not how I envisaged the first game of the World Championships going at all. It's amusing me already. 11. How much has he got in hand if Nalguidan chooses? Or more importantly, how much does Nalguidan think might be in hand? There's no Fireball, which is a big difference these days, of course.
Yeah, but still scary.
Really?
I think he's got ways to heal up going to next turn. You just have to go for it, I think.
My quest, my revenge.
That has been the ongoing theme in qualifiers, right, or in Grandmasters. Like, you get into these spots quite often and you just have to hope that nothing bad happens.
Yeah. So he could double jump, hit I-beam, and then just use it preemptively. Yeah. Just to try and get a little bit of a buffer.
And next turn, obviously, he will be able to at least partially clear with the Guild Trader, but again, then he's slowing himself down to some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just going for the spell damage. Which has he got? He's got the Orb, he's got the Ignite. Whatever comes from the Orb, it's not a lot, but he's got a trade available as well.
How perplexing.
The main point being here, I think, that just a Mizaki and not much else is starting to get towards lethal now. He's not going to have to do some sort of crazy 17-card turn to win the game if this continues.
Oh, it says
Second flow.
Yep, it's all going at the face. Third flow.
Rigged fair game. Okay. Couple more turns and he can build a Snogre.
I love being trolled by the cards. Alright, 11. Nalguidan's got to clear this up. It's too much going on there.
Yep. Off with the Illidari studies. Glide isn't really that impactful right now because everything in his hand already draws cards, and Tianming has pared his hand down to just 5 cards, so wouldn't really be that big of a deal. And to be honest, like, he knows that one of those cards is a Snogre, which Tianming is not going to play. So,
Yep.
It's basically like improving his hand, allowing him to pick up more card draw. But not relevant. Didn't pick it up from the Illidari studies. Instead, gets a Chaos Leech. So.
Here's the fair game in play.
Yeah.
It's not going well here. Oh my goodness.
I don't even know if you want to glide this. Like, Tianming just hasn't been playing card draw, right? So, from Nalguidan's perspective, he has to be improving his hand. Yeah, he's got to kill the thing. So, looks like that's going to happen. And then could end up glide just for himself, right?
Yeah.
But again, I think this will improve Tianming's hand.
Yeah.
It will put a Snogre in his deck that he could draw at any point, which is essentially dead. All right.
Zaki!
And rigged fair game too.
Yeah, and intellect, and Siphon Mana's there as well. He could ping off the Curtis and actually get that to use. I think it's legal.
Yeah, it's got to be. Okay, it's gonna Siphon Mana the Guild Trader, or he wants to draw first with Cram Session? No, because then it won't be honorable kill. He's just going to keep it for burn damage, right? It might just be lethal with the cards in hand, because this is up to, what, 6 damage plus 7 damage? 13?
Double flowed.
I don't know. Okay, Hot Streak, and then Ignite is 7 Siphon Mana, and then another Siphon Mana.
Wow.
Yep, that'll do it.
And Nalguidan
Got there.
never got in there, and just the snowman into the snow brute, taking down the Demon Hunter, and that's a massive deal for Tianming to start the day off. One in a really weird way. Okay, the final blow wasn't, but the initial damage, it started coming in so early with that snowman and really interfered with what Nalguidan was trying to do. He had the Il'gynoth in the wrong place. All in all, not ideal.
Yeah. That I feel like that Bill of Snowman did do a lot, right? Even the Snowbird was able to get in there for some damage. So, I mean, and that seemed like a pretty decent game of OTK Demon Hunter, right? The hand, there was an awkward opening hand with the Il'gynoth, right? If Nalguidan was able to get off an outcasted glide at a certain point when Tianming had kind of that full hand, then that would have been a much bigger deal. But wasn't able to because of the Il'gynoth blocking. So that kind of just snowballed things and, let Tianming kind of dump his hand and play for damage and ultimately get the win with the Mizaki, probably even like 2 turns before Nalguidan could set up for a kill.
Yeah, didn't look like he was going anywhere, but getting it done. So Nalguidan's going to queue up the Quest Warrior now. And I don't like the name Quest Warrior, TJ. Did you put this? It's what everyone calls it, so I guess it is. But
it's Warrior and it has the quest in it.
It's Piratey Face Warrior.
By calling him Quest Warrior, it's implied that there's pirates because you have to play pirates in order to progress the quest. Whereas if you do it the other way around and you call it Pirate Warrior, that's not implied that it has the quest because it could just have pirates in it and not the quest. Whereas calling it Quest Warrior, you know that there's both.
I mean, that's very logical and all that, but since we're doctors.
True. Very true. But this deck really hasn't changed much. 2 decks in a row for Nalguidan with no Fractured and Alterac Valley cards. But obviously, metagame changes, and so having sort of these aggressive decks in your lineup ends up being pretty reasonable. Now Tianming's going to head over to the Bolnar OTK Shaman, which this is one of the better matchups for it because it is board-based. And obviously the Bolnar OTK Shaman, they're great at stalling for time, right? You have wind chills, you have the Diligent Note Taker to get more wind chills, you have Snowfall Guardian, and then Brilliant McCall to get more Snowfall Guardian freezes, Sleep Breaker, and then, you know, by the time the board is done being frozen, you've probably woven in a couple Circus Medics, maybe a Dunk Tank or two, and then Yasharaj comes in. The ultimate OTK with this is the combination of Bolnar Hammerbeak plus Yasharaj. You know, obviously you repeat the first battle cry, which in this instance would be the Yasharaj with Bolnar Lightning Bloom plus Yasharaj, and then it's an infinite chain of Circus Medics and Dunk Tanks, because you can keep getting that back because Circus Medic completes the chain by being a battle cry itself and repeating the Yasharaj. So
one of the key
that was a
things with that
mouthful.
combo, though, it's not just 2 cards thrown in there to win the game. The Bolnar is very powerful in its own right because it's got so many battle cries in there, and the Yasharaj not quite so much, but also can just be used in its own right to get back some damage, to get back some removal. And this is the matchup I was going to highlight actually before the match started, but we, as always, went in a bit of a different direction, like we do. And this is the one that I think Tianming, when he's looking at the matchup before knowing he was going to be 1-0 ahead, would be like, I really need to get my Shaman into that Warrior today to have much chance of winning this match. So he's going to be delighted to have queued this.
Yep. Probably the best matchup that he could hope for in the maybe the entire field, right?
Right, yeah. And for that reason, I mean, if not for that reason, but it explains the reasoning. I think that bringing the Warrior, which only 2 people have done, is actually a really good bring for this tournament. It's not massive against any of the combo decks, but it's just consistently favoured against them. So this is a bit unfortunate for Nalguidan to have to queue into this Shaman, one of the 2 Shamans in the entire tournament.
All right. Well, I mean, that's an opening hand for Nalguidan, right? Like, almost every single card in the deck is just a pirate that costs 5 or less. So, yep, 1, 2, 3 pirates, and yep,
5 or less.
All costs 5 or less.
And the chance he'll fill out the curve next turn because that's how things tend to work.
Yeah.
You have a lot of cheap cards. Shake of the head, though.
Grab your cutlass. Let's buckle swash.
Not really many options for Nalguidan here. He's just going to play to the curve, so we shall see. Tianming has initiative, which is not good for Nalguidan, but we'll be able to just, again, continue playing on curve. I imagine Cargo Guard is probably going to be the play here. Roll that into Sword Eater, and then work from there. Try and get some board presence back with the weapons.
And it's easy to think, if you've not seen this Shaman before, that maybe Tianming hasn't got a particularly good opening hand, but he's got 3 Wind Chills in his hand, which is one of the most powerful cards that has been released in the new set, I feel. Just 1 mana, draw a card is something that we already do with Tradable as it is. 1 mana, do something pretty important and draw a card. That's rather nutty, and it's the basis for how this deck works. Buy yourself time over and over again till you get to your, I'm going to get it right this time, Snowfall Guardian.
Yep. Who, Mutinous could also be pretty devastating for Nalguidan if he completes quest and holds on to Rakara for a turn. It's got to be in his mind, though. I'm sure he's practiced a ton against the lineup for Tianming. And knows that Mutinous is always a possibility. Tianming thinking whether or not to trade, and is just going to deny the armor here. There's really no reason for him to play super aggressively for like face damage with these minions. It's just about controlling the state of the board. And I think he's going to be doing that quite well. So Sword Eater are going to come down now and complete that first part of the quest. Draw the hatchet. but he's already going to have a sword.
Yeah, everything's just come out in the wrong order for Nalguidan so far. The mutinous comment's interesting because you normally play around it almost by accident with the Pirate Warrior. You tend to complete with mana left over because of the nature of the deck. It exhausts its hand size quite rapidly. But in this game, there is a chance that Nalguidan is just going to have to play it and not play it and hope to set up previous, because he is under pressure already to some degree. We may just see Rukara getting eaten out of necessity for Nalguidan rather than because he makes a mistake.
Yeah. We'll see once we get to that point, though. Tianming is going to go ahead and get the ooze out of the way. That's probably one of the best targets for the ooze, right? The hatchet you're not as concerned about. This puts tempo on the board. And once you get to the point where Rukara is complete, the Juggernaut comes out, it's really pointless to ooze. Or to Viper. Sorry, just so used to calling weapon destruction effects oozes. Because they're just going to get a fresh weapon the next turn anyway. Unless it's Bulwark and you absolutely push damage on your turn. But that's the only relevant case.
Yeah. And there's a few weapons, so it doesn't come up that often. It's more relevant against the more control-y warrior decks, where if you're playing a Demon Hunter or something maybe. But yeah, in this instance, should be okay. It does come up from time to time. But just get that 3-4 out there as well. Start fighting this board. The Shaman doesn't have that much actual removal, so it does rely on trading to keep ahead.
Yeah, or infinite freeze, right?
Yeah.
Just freeze something until eventually you draw into the removal or the kill.
So now's about the time you want a Snowfall Guardian.
Yeah, and you can tell that Nalguidan knows that the deck generally lacks removal. It's up to Tianming to be the one to fight for tempo. So just literally throw everything face. Make Tianming be the one to sort of make those trades.
Are you tempted? Tempted to eat a pirate?
Just mutinous, bloom mutinous.
Slow down the quest. Have another thing on the board.
What about Bloom Bolner mutinous? Put the read that Nalguidan has 2 minions in hand.
And if he doesn't, sure, then you're not terribly upset.
Well, I mean, you overload for 4. You have 2 mana next turn.
All right.
And the Bolner would be a 1/4 that'd be vulnerable.
Okay, you convinced me.
And it'd be like almost the entire hand.
Dinner time.
Oh, he's doing it! No way. Or is he gonna go? Okay.
I think he's probably correct, honestly. Because if there are 2 cards, it's the end. If there are 2 pirates, it's the end of the game.
Essentially, yeah. Yep, Tianming knows. He said the shake of the head. He's like, well, it was worth the risk. But now the Bolner just gets eaten up. Nalguidan still is left in the main cannon. Stonewall Anchorman, probably the best draw off the top to just continue with this.
Yep, get some refill
Pirates
going.
Plus a card draw. Yeah.
Just about clear the board up while you're at it.
Yeah. There's a potential that Man the Cannons might be just a stronger play overall to clear off the mutinous. Tianming's next turn is going to be pretty weak, but maybe that also means you take the draw with the Anchorman while you can.
Yes, I agree with that, and Nalguidan agrees with that as well.
Yep, and gets up in face damage too. I don't think this mutinous is relevant. It's going to die next turn anyway because Tianming's turn just isn't going to be real.
It's not a real turn. What does that even mean? A pretend turn.
Yeah, it's a make-believe turn. He's imagining that he's going to be doing strong things.
There's the Guardian. It looks like it could be a little late, but maybe it's just in time. He is taking a lot of damage now, though.
Yeah. So one thing that Nalguidan does have to be careful of here is the Macaw, right?
Uh-huh.
Because the last battle cry that was played is the mutinous. So even though Mutinous is on the board, there's a chance that Mutinous could come out. So he's got to be careful for quest completion if he leaves Rakara in hand, because a Macaw would eat it.
I wonder if he can get the read on there being no Macaw from the double Lightning Bloom, though. If you had a Macaw, I mean, it's a hard read to make, but if you had a Macaw, you wouldn't overload yourself for 4. You just play Macaw next turn?
I don't know, because then the pirate would be dumped out of hand.
Right.
I think that it might even be like a read that it's more likely that there's a Macaw because he did that play, because he knows he could eat those pirates and then continues to do it. Maybe not. I don't know. It's very difficult to say that, but I mean, there's a chance that they may not even be relevant, right? Because Nalguidan's pushing so much damage.
And this is where the lack of removal comes in, right? You really want to get rid of these things that are just hurting you, the Cannoneers. And
yeah, if Macaw came out right now, right, it would be 3 mana, so there wouldn't be Snowfall Guardian, and Tianming could just die to the board, right?
Yep.
He's essentially at 5 because of the 2 damage, and he even has a pirate in hand, which means that even if Macaw were to come out, it's 50-50. And then he'd only have 4 mana to be able to clean up the rest of the board. What is he going to do? Dunk Tank would still leave 5 damage on board, so he'd be very close to killing at that point. It'd be a Mr. Smite for lethal at any point in the game.
Tianming is going to need something remarkable to go his way, I think, to get back from there. Led people to talk occasionally about putting maybe a Battle Master in the deck, so that you could just use these Guardians to just do so much damage in one turn that you can win races, but really caught on. I think people just prefer the consistency.
Gotta get through me.
2 more. That's probably some more.
Ooh, Brucon. Doesn't really do enough of a dent in the board. I think this probably is going to be a double Dunk Tank, 1 in the Rakara, and then 1 to face. That would be a full board clear. And it would push, what,
11? 11.
Yeah, 11. You're right, yeah.
And then you just got to hope that somehow the weapon plus the cannons and stuff don't do 5 damage, which seems really unlikely, but it's the only play he's got to even have a chance at this, I think.
Yep. All right, that's
oh dear.
4. Oh, and there it is. All right, Nalguidan gets over a pretty tough matchup, and the risk for Tianming of going for the Bolner Mutinous to try and snipe the 2 pirates from Nalguidan's hand did not pay off. If he had been able to get that, and the Bolner, right, got beefed up and wasn't able to be traded back on board, and both pirates were removed from hand, he's looking great in that game. And, you know, if you look at the deck overall, right, the 1 weapon had been drawn. There is double Shiver Their Timbers, double Man the Cannons, and that's it, right? Those are the only non-minion stuff left. So, like the fact that he went for the risk, didn't pay off. Nalguidan takes the win.
And that equalizes not just the scores, but kind of the expected scores as well. Nalguidan losing to the Mage when he probably wouldn't have expected to, but beating the Shaman when it's a bit closer, but the Warrior's probably slightly underdog against the Shaman. Now people have got the hang of playing the Shaman better, so back to 1-1, and importantly for Nalguidan, that Shaman is still in play for Tianming against his combo decks now going forwards. That is going to be the focal point of this match now from this point on, I think. Can that Shaman get the win? Because the Rogue probably will. Rogue tends to find a way, but the Shaman, no target. It's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way with just play your own stuff and hope you kill them before they combo.
Yeah. It's Rogue left for both players. And then that difference being the Shaman. And even Tianming's Rogue is different from what we've seen, right? There's a Viper in the list, as well as Animated Broomstick. So you can obviously tell that Tianming was expecting a more board-focused metagame because of the choices. Or, you know, potentially even like Quest Warlock, right? Where Rust-Rot Viper has some use with the Rune Mythal Rod, and then Animated Broomstick can allow you to fight back with some of the bigger things. I feel like Scabs is enough just in itself to beat those like big minion push decks, right?
Yeah.
Because it buys you 1 turn and removes everything from the board and makes it easier to execute the combo. But just a little bit different from what we've seen. The cards that he cut in order to make those things happen was the Blackwater Cutlass. Which, tradable for tradable in the sense of Rust-Rot Viper. Blackwater Cutlass can, have some tangential benefits of, like, reducing a Garrote soon before you're about to go off with the combo. Things along those lines. Or you trade it on 1 and reduce the cost of a Shroud of Concealment, and then you could play Shroud of Concealment on 2 and fit your mana curve better. But they're reasonably small in the grand scheme of things when you're talking about a tournament lineup. So let's get into it. Garrote Rogue for Tianming versus the OTK Demon Hunter once again for Nalguidan. A matchup that
oh no, he's got it
we've
again.
come to expect. Yeah, Il'gynoth blocking Glide again.
Just a reminder at this point that this is a double elimination group, so if you lose your first match, you do still get a second chance at it. I bring that up now because Nalguidan's hand, it's not such a bad hand this time, but the Il'gynoth is going to be irritating. He has got a lot of card draw to back it up. But this is a super favoured matchup for the Demon Hunter. Absolutely important that Nalguidan gets this one done. Not just planning this turn, but planning how he wants to use all of these pieces. He would love to get a glide off against the Rogue. That is kind of a massive, massive bonus. If you can get that going, just reset the Rogue's gameplay completely. That is going to limit the damage, get rid of this Octobot now. There's not really... There are lots of I-beam targets later on, but you've got more removal, you've got more pressing matters. Let's just get rid of this and move on.
Yeah.
Shroud Swindle would draw a lot of cards. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's a double-edged thing because of Glide.
Yeah, and I think because of that, he's going to play Cold Neophyte instead of that Swindle. One of the things to note, though, with that first Octobot out of the way, and the discounts being pretty unimpactful, right? Because he's going to use these prior to, like, field contact, so it's going to draw less overall stuff and delay the combo a little bit. One of the things that you always have to keep in mind with the new Garrote Rogue, right, only shuffling 2, is the damage thresholds have changed, right? In order to go for the full OTK, you do have to preserve more spell damage than you did in the past. You need the 5 plus 5 at some point, which is Guild Trader plus 1 Aug Merchant. You can't be as aggressive with those types of draws. And against OTK Demon Hunter, they will normally end up at 30 health or floating around 30 health by the time you need to combo. So you need to think about preserving that stuff.
Yeah, the way to remember it if you haven't played a lot of Rogue, and I know some people don't play it, some people sort of try and hope it goes away, is that each spell damage is worth 6 total damage. So you start off with 12 with the 2 Garrotes, and then you have the spell damage 3 more times to get to the 30, to get to 18 more. And that comes in handy to work it out quickly if your opponent's on 25, 26. Do I need 2 more points of chip damage? Oh, 2 more points of chip damage would get me 1 spell damage less needed. But yeah, it means we'll see people be a bit more careful with their shadow steps some of the time. Not necessarily right now, but through the tournament, that's something to look out for.
Yeah, it does kind of seem, though, like what they lost in Garrote damage, they sort of made up for with Scabs, right?
Yeah.
Because Scabs ends up being damage in itself a lot of times because the stealth 4/2s, and also allows you to get essentially what is, an Octobot discount on twice on a card, right? With the hero power. So it's, quite interesting. Not a net even, right? Because 3 Garrotes being shuffled instead of 2 was such a massive deal. You could be so willy-nilly with your spell damage.
Yeah, even I could
it does help a lot. Yeah, we all could. You get a win. You get a win.
Everybody gets a win. I mean, Scabs couldn't.
Now it's like,
more
we're a little
perfectly.
low on wins, so only a couple of you are going to get wins today.
It's just,
We're rationing the wins.
if you sort of try and win with Rogue in a vacuum, I mean, that would be quite difficult because you wouldn't be able to operate the mouse and things. But, you know, in theory, you win on turn 7 or 8 a lot of the time, right? And Scabs is just, hey, turn 7, I now just do this, and just turn 8 happens because you can't kill me on turn 7 if you're playing minions.
Yeah.
It's just the most perfect card to slot into this deck. So it is the return of the Garrote Rogue.
All right. Well,
Hit the wall.
the field contact and secret passage for Tianming has been quite elusive so far this game. He's thinking about if there's anything that he wants to just kind of get rid of, but honestly, he would welcome a glide with open arms right now because of the fact that his hand is just a whole lot of nothing.
Another happy
Nalguidan's, you know, it's it's not like a ton better. He's still on quest 1.
Yeah. And he's going
but-
to burn through his key spells to get the quest complete. But now he is kicking. He's got this Spectral Sight finally to draw 2 and could put him in a much better spot suddenly. But it's still getting slow.
Ooh. Nah, he can't go for 2. I was like, oh, he can go for 2 quest completions. If he picked up... Nah, he can do it.
It's so difficult because all the cheap cards tend to draw you. Like if he picks up another double jump, it's just going to put it on the right-hand side. You were trying to get across, weren't you, to just burn through to the acrobatics and have a glide?
No, I was trying to see if he could go for 2 quest completions in a single turn. But I think it'd be impossible to get the last draw. He would need 1 more mana, right? He would need to Spectral Sight into Tusk Piercer, re-equip Tusk Piercer, but then he'd be 1 mana short from actually trading the Persistent Peddler. So, and pretty dead draw once again for Tianming. Scabs at
This
this
is
point
tough.
is not really what you want.
Because you don't want to let Nalguidan know he can do what he likes next turn. There's not often mind games come into Hearthstone, but when you have a hand this bad, there are plays like you can make to try and make it look good, like just throw the Octobot out there or something, but yeah, there's just nothing to do. He needs all these cards if he is going to get out of trouble, so he can't make any sort of pretend aggressive play. And Nalguidan now has information that Tianming's hand is garbage.
Yep. And I think... is this a self-glide turn?
Pleasure doing
I guess he doesn't need to.
Huh. Just going to
Another happy guilty.
proceed. I think he knows that he's okay. He's trying to do it so he's got maximum card draw available after he glides. He's going to try and do it by getting rid of the not so strong cards.
Or he's just going for pure efficiency.
Yeah, that's the other option.
Yep. Or he's going for double quest completion.
Come on.
Oh, he's going to do it. So now he's got a double jump. Acrobatics.
He's got to do it quick as well.
Oh, he's going for glide. You get it?
Exhale. He got there. There was this massive exhale of air. I don't think he breathed for about
Okay.
20 seconds there while he was trying to get all that done.
But again, it's like, all right, this guy looks good because Tianming has a lot of cards, but his hand was garbage. So he's just going to improve it on average. Yep, Shroud, there you go. No, it actually didn't really improve it that much.
Oh, there
Okay,
you
Secret
go.
Passage.
Now he is cooking.
Yeah, but he's a little behind, right? 17 cards still left in deck. Nalguidan's playing the Curses next turn. I like that turn from Nalguidan, actually. He did have... actually, let me look real quick. Hold on.
So many options.
Hold it. No, hold him.
Trying to think if it was guaranteed glide. I don't think he'd use both items. Maybe it was a 50-50. But he left himself the opportunity to self-glide if needed for the second quest completion, with the added bonus of if he does hit the other glide off the double jump, then he could glide his opponent as well. So,
yeah. So they're both like a turn slower than they would normally be, but I think Nalguidan is now back on track. And he sort of played at his own pace as well. Octobot? Gonna be good.
yeah. Maybe vulnerable to like Moarg plus Immolation Aura, right? But I think he's got to take the risk knowing that if that did happen, it would mean Nalguidan's not playing Kurtrus, so that's probably not really something that he's ever going to do. But pretty good position here for Nalguidan. Does have a good amount of card draws, discounted Il'gynoth 30 in hand. Now just needs to piece those things together.
Moarg, Arcanist, it's all sitting there. As long as the acrobatics and the peddler don't miss, he should be in a position to win this in 2 turns from now. Tianming is still scrambling to get things together. Contact Shadow Step though gives him a chance to have a look next turn.
It's quiet.
Yeah, I think he's just going to go right now with the field content. He's got a second one, so he just needs to thin the deck as much as possible right now. Probably start with the trade. This probably ends with the Shadow Step on the Peddler.
Yeah, weirdly enough, it probably does.
And he could even fit in a Penflinger too. So Penflinger for that one little extra draw, just leave it vulnerable on board, and then end the turn with the Prize Plunder.
Yeah, trust your deck.
It doesn't matter if it's
contact
killed. I guess he could always end the turn with a Penflinger if he really wanted the extra draw. Yep. Seeing what the draw was first. I guess it's pretty smart. All right. However, that is the second Octobot gone for Tianming, so he's got to operate with Honest Mana, which is still possible, right? He's still got some discounts in hand, and the Scabs can also give him some stuff. This is a possibility for lethal.
It's looking like, I mean, it's not a lethal right now, but it's looking like lethal next turn, isn't it? A lot of cards.
He's gonna look to dig for it right now.
4, 6, 8.
No, he can't do it anymore.
He needed to hit there, yeah.
Yeah, but it was just the first Moarg, right? Can still do it, right?
Another happy Gildy.
With acrobatics, if it hits. That is 1 mana off.
4, 6, 8. That's more than 7. You're right. He's off.
Can he do it with Eye-Beam? Nope, Glide. Oh, Glide is fantastic. Holy moly. I was like, Glide is okay. You know, his hand is, he's like so close to combo. He just waits until next turn. But Tianming's hand was great. And that's his last Octobot discount, right? So, Tianming's got a whole lot of nothing. This is smooth sailing for Nalguidan now. Tianming's starting from 0, essentially.
Oh, he
picks up a skull.
He needed
Holy moly.
everything. He so needed that skull, and then next turn he's got 0 mana acrobatics, now 6 cards in deck. He should get through the entire deck.
Yeah, he could even do it even if like second Cold Neophyte is played. Yeah, I think even with Cold Neophyte, because like Fellscreen Blast still costs, will still cost 0.
It costs nothing! It's giveaway time. Buy 1, get 4 free.
It's quiet.
Timmy's gonna try and piece something together here, but
Probably.
This needs to be a good draw then. Still going. Only 4 cards left himself, but no mana.
You're paying for my discretion.
okay. I mean, just
Good try.
like he's thinking, can I even dump this prep, right? Because he drew the prep from the Secret Passage, so it would essentially be drawing deeper into his deck. But because he has no Octobots left, in order for him to actually go for a kill, he may need to hold on to the prep. I think at this point he's also got to get Scabs down too. Yeah, so he is going to hold on to the prep. I don't know. This is brutal, but he is dead. I'm pretty sure this is guaranteed, no matter which way you look at it. Even with the Cold Neophyte played, it just doesn't do anything.
Look, it doesn't do anything. There's that broomstick you highlighted at the start. Another example of why we think that maybe Tianming got the meta call wrong. That doesn't mean he's bad or anything. It's just you have to make a call and go with it in these tournaments. And winning is so important. Coming first place is so important. You saw that prize money. That taking a chance and going for what you think is going to be there exactly. If he calls the meta right, he just wins the tournament sometimes. But this does look pretty grim for him now. He's 2-1 behind. Nalguidan still has his own rogue left.
Yeah. Well, OTK Demon Hunter decked himself on turn 9, right? That was with a pretty slow start. So, getting a good idea of what the deck is capable of still. And a rough game for Tianming, to be fair, right? His opening hand was not great, and by the time he really did get something going, that was about the time that Nalguidan was able to get those glides going, and that's why we've been talking about why OTK Demon Hunter is being brought, even though it's not really like the super popular ladder deck at the moment. It's because if you're expecting a field full of combo decks, OTK Demon Hunter is the ultimate anti-combo combo deck. So,
yeah.
Nicely done by Nalguidan, 2-1 up.
Yeah, and still has that Shaman hanging around as well. Nalguidan with just the Rogue, and that will probably be, one of the next 2 games will decide it, but Nalguidan with Rogue in the mirror and then Rogue against Shaman. Nice position to be in.
Yep, and Nalguidan has done well in now multiple metagames where Garrote Road has existed. Pretty much every player that's at the World Championship has,
Yes.
maybe with the exception of, I actually don't think there is.
Go on, tell me the exception, TJ, off the top of your head
no
now.
Exception.
Which of these
But I
players
will say that none of them. None of them. I will say, though, that Nalguidan seem to have one of the best grasps of the deck out of anybody in the Americas region. Even in Season 2, after he'd already qualified for World Championship, in Season 2 when he had things to play for, but not as much since he was already going to Worlds. He still looked incredibly proficient on the deck, so.
No, not by coincidence, quite possibly. The other person who seemed to really have a good grip, even above the others, was McBanterface, who posted a 43-page essay on one of his turns at one point in the season. And he's also in the World Championships later today, so seems to be a deck that you need to know well. But you're right, Nalguidan did look very good on it. He won several games that he had to use creative tempo mechanisms to win rather than just winning with the combo. It's like, I can't win this with combo, I've got to insert weird thing here.
I thought you were going to just stop at, he won several games with the deck.
Yeah, well done.
I was like,
you won.
Woo!
What a guy.
Yeah, one of Nalguidan's greatest achievements is he went into America's Grandmasters and won several games with Garrote Rogue. Incredible!
Really bigging up our
It's a little bit higher than that. It's a little bit higher than that. It's almost that low, but...
I think he pulled out something like 3 or 4 where we were both like, he can't win this, he's done. He can't win this game of Hearthstone, and he'd just find a creative use of all the cards. Maybe throw in a bit of Garrote, maybe throw in a bit of tempo. It wasn't all straightforward stuff at all. And we're going to get to see him play it in this next game. He hasn't got the broomstick, he hasn't got any of the weird stuff. He's got the 1/1 thief that we saw a moment ago.
You also may notice that I'm an expert ventriloquist.
You're very good. Yeah.
It's not a Grandmasters or, this is an extension of Grandmasters broadcast without my camera doing weird things all the time, literally all the time. So we'll just have to deal with it. I'm not talking over him. If you have me muted, we're not just talking at the same time all the time.
I was confused right at the start. It's like, hey, every time TJ's mouth opens, I speak. Am I doing this wrong?
No, I don't know. I'll try and fix it for the next match, but we're just going to have to deal with it. All right, Nalguidan, Garrote Rogue left versus either Garrote Rogue from Tianming or the Bolner OTK Shaman. So, again, like you mentioned, double elimination groups. So the loser of this first match of the tournament is not out. They'll go to the losers match of Group A, and we'll see them fight later today for their life. But it does mean that they have to play like one extra match of Worlds, right? They don't get like the 2 and in to the semifinals. And that's a lot of pressure being put on for a player. Oh man, I lost literally the first match. I just went on stream and lost, but got to deal with it if you want to be the world champ.
The worst thing about that is you have to come back tomorrow and play before. You don't get that bye. You just have to worry all night about whether you're going to even reach that semi-final. Whereas at least if you're in the semi-final, you can sit there on your pile of money and think, you know what, if I don't sleep very well tonight, at least I can sleep on this pile of money that A-Bar has sent to me.
That he hand delivered to my home?
Yep, absolutely. He just goes around everybody's home with piles of dollar bills and just puts them through their mail and you go.
Yeah, he actually leaves tonight and gives them how much they've earned today, and then has to go back tomorrow and give the players who advance further extra.
Like Hearthstone Christmas.
Potentially all around the world tonight.
Hearthstone Santa, right? He just
Yeah.
slides down
If Santa gave you
cash.
Yeah, if Santa gave you incremental presents based on how well you behaved at certain parts of the year, like halfway through the year in like June or July, if you were good, he brings you the first half of your gifts, and then reevaluates in the second half of the year, and then if you're good again, brings you the second half on Christmas.
Like a bad advent calendar, or a really good advent calendar, depending how you look at it.
Yeah.
Dates don't line up, but the prizes are great. Okay. We've got the Shaman. We've got a Mutinous, which could be very, very important. He's got the coin, so he can do that on turn 6, obviously. And if he eats the right thing, the game can change very quickly.
Ooh. Octo. If I had a dunk tank, I'd be Bloom dunk tanking every day.
I was going to ask you, what do you think of this? He's got so much accelerated mana here. He can only use it once. What's the target? Does he want to try and get lucky, or is he going to be okay for a little while longer?
I don't know. I think you just have to accept that this Octobot is getting activated and just play how you would normally play. Just drop a Sleep Breaker.
Yeah, it's a shame, but I think you're right.
Frostbite's sharper than bane.
Oh,
Okay,
coin
he's gonna
armor
force
in
him
there?
to ping it, but look, he might be coining the chill to stop the Gary.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Yeah.
Forcing Nalguidan to have a ping.
Yeah, but it's not really forcing him to have a ping, right? Because he's not challenging it on board, you know?
True.
Like, it's still just going to sit there.
And then we can bloom into Guardian next turn. And it sits there again. And then you can challenge it.
And then Nalguidan just keeps drawing more cards. So. Yeah,
I know.
I see what you mean. This is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he just going to go... Like, my instinct was just Dagger, and then next turn go, like, Neophyte Swindle. He's trying to think about what are the possible plays from Tianming. Bloom Snowfall Guardian would actually be a pretty big punish if Nalguidan were just to go for Dagger Up, unless he picked up specifically something to activate this Octobot. But I think just Dagger Up and, try and preserve this and just see what Tianming's got,
Now he's got a decision because he's picked up another sleep. He's going to repeat the process. But this is
Which is 3.
Weird game of chicken, right? How many cards am I going to give Nalguidan, or am I just going to ignore this Octobot and say I'm going to kill you with my things?
Ooh, dunk tank. Gonna dunk him in the tank.
Gonna dunk him in the tank. And now it's Nalguidan's turn to play chicken.
I think you activate it. You go
Such a good
fight, prize plunder on your Octobot, and then swindle.
Yeah.
Oh nope, he's getting greedy.
It's such a good hand though, because the scabs would be down to 6, would be so good.
Oh yeah, and he blocks the dunk tank because the cold
Yeah.
Neophyte. Oh no, this is good. This is good.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this is yeah. No, this is good.
Final answer?
Final answer. This is good. If this was Nalguidan 2 years ago, that would have been terrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, exact same play, but it would have been bad.
Yeah, that's how we evaluate it, right? That's just fits the narrative that I know he hates.
Yep.
There is the chance to lightning bloom into dunk tank anyway here.
Oh God, that is.
But yeah, this is.
Oh no.
This is what he built for himself, though, right? By playing the way he has, he's kind of forced himself to have to do this now. It's a setback for both players. He set back himself.
It really
Nalguidan. He
is.
decided it was worth it on average.
It's like it's hard to find a Hearthstone play that just hurts both players equally.
Too quiet.
Maybe that's not equal though, right?
Yeah. He's kind of forced this play to come out now. But he basically has no follow-up.
This field contact sticks. It sticks.
Just there. We talked earlier.
not even
that much removal in this deck. It's going to stick for a while if you have no minions.
Oh jeez. That's ridiculous.
That's an upgrade. Probably.
Monster protect.
Oh yeah.
Clear the board and that field contact. It doesn't need to be able to. It doesn't need to be not frozen. It just needs to be on the board. And Nalguidan taking big advantage of that clear at the minion, and he knows that that just can't be killed for another turn. Well, it can, but it's really, really unlikely.
Yeah. So he's fine on hand size, so he could just go for brain freeze and then stop here. And even if he picks up Shadow Step, I don't even think he can use it on anything. I don't even think it's relevant. Doesn't pick it up, but again, like his field contact's protected. So
Yeah, he's looking good. He's down to only 11 cards as well in his deck, and he's got some chip damage, and we talked about that earlier. Like, the chip damage is pretty relevant.
he still can't kill it unless he plays Instructor Fireheart and picks up multiple. I guess a landslide would do it. No, it wouldn't, because he's not overloaded.
Okay, hear me out. He's seen a brain freeze. The snowfall would be pretty big,
Okay. And then what?
and hit him in the face.
All right. Then you still need 17
Twice.
damage.
Sure, we'll find a way.
Then you still need 10 damage.
And then draw the parrot.
All right. So these situations are actually really tough. When you have a field contact on board and your board's frozen and your hand is full.
Initiating overdrive.
I think he's actually just going to try and get second Octo, or try and get a Shadow Step to get this Octobot back. I want to equip this. Yep. Get that out of the way. Okay, so he's got 7 cards pre-Secret Passage, so he can afford to put 2 more in his hand.
There's the Shadow Step. So that's one of the 2.
So you just Pen Flinger. Okay, Shroud, so now he'll be at 9 cards in hand. I think he's going to end... Oh, no, he can't end the turn. He's going to be at a full hand no matter what he does.
You can Shadow Step.
If he Shadow Steps.
Yeah. Oh no. Is there anything important left in the deck?
Garrotes.
There is still a Garrote, okay.
I'm out of cards.
Oh, he shuffled the Octobot back in. Wait, no, that doesn't work like that. he's going to be at a full hand.
Yes.
Oh, no, he's got both Garrotes.
Fine.
Okay.
Good. I thought he only had one as well.
Yeah, he's got everything he needs. He's got all spell damage. He's got both Garrotes.
He's good.
He's got an Octobot. He's good. He's good. I was going to say, he wouldn't have done that if he could overdraw a Garrote. He just wouldn't have done that. That's just
Not this year, anyway.
make. Yeah.
Tianming, you
Yeah, so
need to win.
last 4 cards are like Prep, Shadow Step, and other things.
Shroud. Yeah, I'm just looking.
Shroud.
I'm trying to
And Flinger.
interpret the interpretive
And-
art
and
that is our
Penflinger.
deck tracker, and yeah.
Yeah.
Armor.
All right, and he's preserved all of the spell damage. But let's see if this is enough armor. He is at 39.
Hand is too full.
So you need 5. So you need 12. You need to get to 42. So you need 5 spell damage.
He doesn't have 5 spell damage.
Oh, but he's got 6 damage on board that can attack.
He's got 6 damage on board, but does he have board space?
He can kill one of the minions off, so he's got 2 damage for. He only actually needs to get Tianming down to 36. Then he'll only need 4 spell damage.
Okay, so he's got it now. He can kill off his minions now.
Yeah.
Because a weapon swing puts him down to 35.
Yeah.
And then he guild traders. He trades off 1 minion. Then he ethereal aug merchants. Trades off another minion. Then double Garrote and play the Penflinger. And then attack phase, and that's lethal.
Yep. See, I told you that thing about 6s would come in handy. Looks like Nalguidan also knows how to count in 6s. Surprisingly enough, a World Championship contender. And he is going to go through to the Group A final. Tianming will have to fight again later to try and stay in the tournament.
Nicely done. Nicely done. And it kind of came down to like the risk he took, right, with the dunk tank on the Octobot. Like it obviously super beneficial for him to go for that because it denied a ton of discounts, but it left him without an answer to a field contact on the next turn. I don't even think he would have had an answer to the field contact regardless, but it left him without even the possibility. Yes. Well, he would have had the dunk tank, I guess. So yeah, yes, he would have.
Yep.
But then the field contact could have drawn more cards. Maybe he was hoping something came off the top, or field contact wasn't there. Very tough matchup, to be quite honest. But Nalguidan, I think, navigated those tough turns pretty well. I'm talking, but I'm just rubbing my beard. words are coming out of. Oh my god, that's funny. Oh jeez. All right.
World Championships, everybody. World Championships.
Just talking. Okay.
We know that none of the players are going to be throwing today, so TJ's throwing his voice instead, just so you don't miss out on normal America's content.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. That was just really funny. And just for everybody, it's on me. It's not on production. So blame me and me solely for that. Something's just going wonky. But yeah, Nalguidan. 1 on the board for Americas.
Yay!
I was hoping. I'm happy, right? Like, I'm happy. All I wanted was 1 match win. That's it. And we got it in the first match of the weekend. So now I can look further. I can dream big. Now,
Get back into your body and talk.